Hey guys, it's Owen from Wrestling Inc. back with another wrestling news roundup. Without any further ado, let's get into today's biggest stories in the world of professional wrestling. Steve Austin accepts Kevin Owens' challenge for WrestleMania 38. WWE Hall of Famer Steve Austin is going to WrestleMania 38. As noted, Kevin Owens delivered a challenge on last night's Raw, calling out Austin for a special edition of the KO show at WrestleMania 38. Owens ripped Austin and said he wanted to leave him laying with a stunner that people will talk about for years and then pour a glass of milk over his lifeless body. This came after weeks of Owens trashing the state of Texas and the people that call it home. In an update, WWE released a new promo from Austin this afternoon, and Stone Cold has accepted Owens' challenge. Austin said, "We can call this the KO show, a match, a fight, or a brawl, but either way, he plans to open up one last can of whoop-ass on Owens at WrestleMania 38. Quote, 19 years ago, I wrestled my last match in a WWE ring, Austin said. After 3 rock bottoms, 1, 2, 3, I lost the match, and for 19 years I've had to live with that defeat, knowing my time was up. Kevin Owens, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for waking something up deep inside of me that I've kept buried for 19 years. Ever since you started running that damn mealy mouth of yours, talking about the state of Texas, the great state of Texas, you got my attention. And why would you want to do that, Kevin? I can think of 2 reasons. 1, you are one dumb son of a bitch, and 2, you are fixing to get your ass kicked by Stone Cold Steve Austin. But if you want to call this the KO show, a match, a fight, a brawl, whatever, I will guarantee you this. In Dallas, Texas, where I started my career, at WrestleMania, Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to open up one last can of whoop-ass on you, Kevin Owens, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so." The Texas Rattlesnakes promo ended with glass breaking. Owen has not responded to Austin as of this recording, but we will keep you updated. WWE has confirmed the Austin-Owens segment for Night 1 of WrestleMania 38 or WrestleMania Saturday. Austin has not wrestled an actual match since his loss to The Rock at WrestleMania 19 in 2003, but he has made several appearances since then, including some where he delivered the stunner to a lucky superstar. He delivered stunners to Xavier Woods and the League of Nations members at WrestleMania 32, to WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon at the Raw 25th Anniversary Show on January 22, 2018, to AJ Styles during the September 9, 2019 Madison Square Garden edition of Raw, and to Byron Saxton and the Street Profits during the 316-day Raw on March 16, 2020. The Texas Rattlesnake was forced to retire from in-ring competition due to a serious neck injury and multiple knee injuries. Becky Lynch reportedly legitimately injured. Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch is reportedly suffering from a legitimate injury. As noted, Lynch took to Instagram yesterday evening and announced that she would miss Raw due to Bianca Belair damaging her voice box during the main event of Sunday's WWE live event in Allentown, which saw Lynch retain her title over Belair and Rhea Ripley. She posted a photo from what appeared to be a hospital room but did not elaborate. In an update, PW Insider reports that Lynch is legitimately hurt and is expected to be out of action for around 2 weeks. As long as Lynch is back in the expected time frame, she'll be able to make her WrestleMania 38 match with Belair, which takes place during Night 1 of the big event on Saturday, April 2nd. While Lynch stated that she would not be at Raw last night, she was backstage at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. There is no word yet on if the fracture of the voice box is legitimate or just a storyline excuse for another issue. There is no word on what led to Lynch's injury or what the real issue is, but a correspondent at Sunday's WWE live event in Allentown noted that Lynch seemed fine, but Ripley and Belair did work most of the match. Big title change on last night's WWE Raw. Randy Orton and Riddle are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. Last night's WWE Raw from Cleveland opened up with RK Bro becoming the new champions by winning a triple threat match over Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and the former champions Alpha Academy. The finish saw Riddle get the pin on Chad Gable after stealing it from Rollins in a wild sequence. Orton and Riddle cut a post-match promo on how they are now going to WrestleMania 38 together. Orton said that he's been doing this for 20 years and he's never had as much fun as he's having with Riddle right now. He also said he's never used the F word, friend, before, but he can use it with Riddle because Riddle is his only friend here in WWE. This is the second title reign for RK Bro. Gable and Otis began their reign back on the January 10 episode of Monday Night Raw by defeating Orton and Riddle. They held the straps for 56 recognized days. WWE confirms top match for WrestleMania Sunday. AJ Styles vs WWE Hall of Famer Edge is now official for Night 2 of WrestleMania 38 or WrestleMania Sunday. Styles vs Edge was confirmed during last week's edition of Raw as AJ accepted the open challenge and Edge turned heel on him. Edge returned to Raw on this week's show and delivered a dark promo, which can be seen on social media or during last night's broadcast. WWE also confirmed the match for WrestleMania Sunday. WrestleMania 38 will take place on Saturday, April 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. WWE makes change to WrestleMania 38 title match set for WrestleMania Sunday. WWE has announced a change for the WrestleMania 38 bout for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Last night's Raw saw Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley defeat WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Carmella and Queen Zelina Vega in a non-title match. Per the stipulation, Morgan and Ripley have been added to the WrestleMania match to make it a triple threat match because they picked up the win on Raw. The match will now feature Morgan and Ripley versus Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Carmella and Vega. WWE has also confirmed the triple threat for Night 2 of WrestleMania 38, also known as WrestleMania Sunday. WrestleMania 38 will take place on Saturday, April 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. WWE announces AJ Styles storyline injury update. WWE has announced a storyline injury update on AJ Styles. Last week's Raw saw Styles accept the WrestleMania 38 challenge issued by WWE Hall of Famer Edge. The Rated R superstar ended up snapping and turning heel on AJ, taking him down with a low blow kick and then leaving him laying with steel chair shots to the head. In an update, WWE has announced that AJ suffered a severe neck contusion. Quote, following Edge's vicious assault on last week's Raw and as a result of consecutive concertos, it has been determined that AJ Styles has suffered a severe neck contusion. At this time, it is unclear how the injury will affect the Phenomenal One on his road to WrestleMania, where he is slated to battle the Rated R superstar, WWE wrote yesterday evening. Edge appeared on last night's Raw to explain why he attacked AJ the prior week. AJ has not responded to the storyline injury update, but he addressed Edge last week writing, quote, I accepted your WrestleMania challenge like a man and you responded like a coward. You got the better of me on Raw and made your move. Now you better prepare yourself for mine. Edge has been quiet since before the prior week's Raw. Tony Khan recalls JR calling him out during AEW production meeting. AEW President Tony Khan joined SiriusXM's Busted Open Radio to discuss all things All Elite Wrestling. Khan was asked about whether the wrestlers on his roster had exceeded his initial expectations. He noted that one particular performer had gone beyond that and has become a draw for the company. Quote, a lot of people were critical of him, Orange Cassidy. Some of the smartest people in the wrestling business were really critical and still are to some extent of him, Tony Khan said. Orange Cassidy, who is the big face of the Revolution ladder match this weekend, has been it's just a fact, whether people like it or not. He's been one of the biggest rating draws in our company. And in terms of selling merchandise like online engagement for streaming and hits, he is one of the most important people. I don't think anybody expected that going in, and I didn't expect that going in, but I could see he was getting over, and one of the things I think I'm strong at is course correcting, because I'm not always right, and I do try and stay engaged with the fans and pay attention to what moves the needle with them. Tony Khan also noted that he and legendary commentator Jim Ross did not see eye to eye initially on Orange Cassidy's gimmick because the Oklahoma native believed the character was stupid. Quote, We were in the production meeting the first year, and JR, not under his breath, said something about how stupid the whole thing was in the first year and in front of everyone because Jim called me out in front of the entire room, Tony Khan explained. So I said back to him, Jim, this is getting over and it's doing ratings every time, and we've barely scratched the surface on what this guy can do. And he's actually a really good wrestler, and I think you should give him a chance and talk to him because he's actually a very intelligent wrestling person once you get to know him. And we've barely scratched the surface on what this guy can do. Trust me. A lot of people might not like it, but frankly, he has become one of our big stars, and that is probably the best example of somebody what I thought they could do coming in, because I really thought he was going to be like a manager mostly coming in. Once I realized how gifted he actually is, I had no idea Orange Cassidy was Fire Ant when I first met him. When I realized that was the same guy and he is a great pro wrestler, that's when I came up with the idea to let's hide that for 6 to 8 months and not show anyone all the stuff you can do until the first Revolution. That's when you make your debut in your first real match, and that's when you show people you can really wrestle. So what are your thoughts on today's Wrestling News Roundup? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling Inc. and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.